Hello ex-citizens. Today we are going to do a short video about safety in terms of like your solar solutions, and again providing additional safety warning that people should pay attention to. A lot of times people go for cheap, and there is a saying that says buy cheap, buy twice. That means you go for the cheap solution, you end up paying for it twice to get it right. And sometimes paying for it twice to get it right means the first time your money that was spent is basically wasted money, and then the second time you are actually going to have to buy the real thing, hopefully after you've learned the lesson, and when you could have just bought the real thing at first. But so let's talk about some of the things. One thing I noticed for my installation here, I'm also providing like this type of little mentoring for some like really good electricians here who have been working in the power industry here in Liberia. They went to good schools and they do like solid work. And in fact, that was the minimum criteria, right? To even take them on to provide additional mentorship and training in solar as we do the work. And so these guys were like surprised that I was using these things called, and I'm going to take them out of here, they are called Inline fuse holders. So what these things do is that I'm going to take a new one out of the package and just show you how it looks like. This thing protects your inverter and your battery from any overcurrent, excess current beyond the limit of what your inverter is supposed to take. That's what they do. So they look like traditional MC4 connectors where you connect the wire this way and connect the wire this way. But when you open them up, that's when you see the magic in them. You see the fuse, it's in here. And this fuse protects your expensive inverter or battery from being damaged. Suppose there are some weather events like lightning that creates a situation where the panel produces excess current. That is what this is going to protect your expensive equipment from, the excess current that may be produced due to some unforeseen events. It does not protect your equipment from surge voltage, right? So sometimes maybe due to lightning and thunder, there could be like increased voltage produced by your panels, and that runs down because your panel is charging and sending power to your inverter that uses that power to charge the battery. So if there's excess voltage and it runs through the wire, it's going to hit your inverter. Some inverters like mine, again, this is where you pick judiciously the equipment you are using. My inverter has a surge voltage protector built in, but I do not just rely on that alone. I actually install an additional surge voltage protector like system on it, right? It's a breaker. It automatically switches off when it detects a surge voltage beyond the specified capacity of that device. So protect my expensive equipment. But this is what today I want to talk about. Why am I talking about this? And sometimes you may find somebody who will do this surge voltage protector, but the inline fuse holder, this thing is cheap. I think this entire bag is like maybe $150 or so. And you have to install this. There's a way to install it. I'm not going to go into that detail here. But why do you need this? So as I explained, it's going to protect your expensive device. Think, for example, some of the devices that I personally have in our systems here that we install. The inverter and the battery, right? You're talking about $100+ thousands of dollars that is spent on those devices. And if you don't do yourself the favor of putting these kind of things in the way between your solar panel or your PV modules and your inverter system, and that funny weather event occur and that surge current goes through and hit your inverter and battery, it can fry your system. So you need to install these very cheap things that can protect your 100 grand plus equipment. Or for residential system, it would be something like maybe $10,000 worth of equipment. So why don't you spend $100 and get a pack of these things and protect them? Why installers don't install this? Sometimes they just don't know what this is for, and they don't know the standard, like high quality installation, so they don't do this. Or they know this sometimes, but they want to save maybe an extra $50. So they just install it whatever way they want to. We've talked about bad wiring and poor wiring before in the past, so I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to go into the simple device. And why did I pick to talk about this? Why did I choose to talk about this? Well, remember when I said I was installing this, and even some of the talented and skilled electricians who have worked in the solar industry in Liberia before, they had not seen this, and they had never installed this in their past installation work. And they were asking me, why are you doing this? And I explained to them. But guess what? A few weeks ago, we noticed that our system here at the Xity headquarters, the batteries weren't getting charged. Although we are in the rain season, right? And we don't expect that the battery to charge up very fast. But even during cloudy days, my solar panels that I installed here, I know their capacity. I know they are very good at harvesting energy during cloudy days. So I expect them to be able to hit certain performance. And we were not getting them. In fact, one night there was a blackout. That was the first time since I installed this system, actually, that we did not have power. And I was very surprised by that. Even though the weather was poor and everyone in the yard was saying, oh, the weather is so bad, that's why. But I knew there was something wrong. But it was too dark and late when this power went out. So I turned on a generator. Thankfully, that generator again is very good, and it's been sitting for almost half the year since we did the solar installation. We had never turned it on. I was even worried that the remaining fuel in the tank, right, would have basically the fuel is usually not that great here. So all of the undissolved content of the fuel basically settles down, and the fuel basically turns to a clear liquid or water type thing at the top. It can damage your generator. So I was forced to turn it on that night, and thankfully it did come on, and it served us for that night. But then the next morning I went to debug what was happening. It turns out my solar panels were not generating. So for those who are technically sophisticated and know about this, we have 4 MPPTs in our inverter. So each of those MPPT has 2 strings of PV panels. And I noticed that 3 of the MPPTs, the power input to the inverter was 0 watts. And only 1 of the MPPT was actually supplying power. So what that means in layman terms is that I was expecting 4 connections to my inverter from the solar arrays, the solar panels that I installed, to be supplying power. But when I checked the lines, only 1 of those lines were sending power to the inverter. And I was surprised. So the first thing that goes to your mind when you see something like that is oh, did the wires cut? Or are the panels that are connected to those wires, are they damaged in some way? And then I check also the voltage surge protector, because sometimes that breaker is supposed to trip if there is bad weather event. And of course, we are in the rainy season. There has been a lot of lightning and thunder in this area, as you all know. So Liberia receives a lot of rainfall too, and some thunderous weather conditions and lightning. So I was thinking that, okay, maybe my breaker's tripping. I looked at all of the breakers and the safety switches, everything was still up in the on position. So the next thing was that, okay, so maybe the PV panels power, something is wrong with the PV panels. But then I thought, I was oh, wait a minute. I have these things installed, and if there is some weather event that produces high current, these things beyond their capacity, each of these is a 32 amp inline fuse holder. So it will basically self-destruct so that it doesn't send that current to expensive equipment. That is what these things happen. And when they self-destruct, it means they're no longer useful. You cannot pass power through them. You have to replace them. So I went up, to where we installed the panels, got up on the scaffold, and went up there and looked. And the amazing thing is that each of the lines that were not sending power to the inverter, guess what I saw? I saw this. And I'm going to bring it a little bit closer so you see. Do you see how this thing is actually melted somehow? And you can see the lines are twisted. So I'll bring this close to the camera, and I'll bring the new one I took from the bag. And I'm just going to show you. This is the bag. These are the new ones. I'm going to take another one out of it, just so that you show that we are actually comparing a brand new one versus the one that has been destroyed. And I'll bring another one that was destroyed. There were 6 of them, just to be clear, because each of the MPPT has 2 strings. So there are 6 of them that were damaged. And they get damaged so that you can physically, this is actually very good. Like, I didn't expect these things to be that good. So that visually, by just looking at them, you can tell, like, you can debug quickly and say, oh, that's where the fault is, because it actually gets damaged and it basically twists. This is amazing. Like, this is how you want something to actually tell you, hey, here, I have the problem. It announces itself and says, this is where the problem is. So I just went up there and started like flipping these things. Well, I turned off the system for safety and then got up there and started turning them off. And you can see all of them that are damaged. And here, you can look in there and you can see how the fuse is even stuck in there because it created heat and some of the plastic melted, and you can see it stuck in there. Whereas the brand new ones, like when I open it up, you can see here the fuse is in there, and here's the fuse, it's out. See that? And that is how this works. But once it basically like prevents your equipment from getting damaged, it's self-destruct, right? So you don't have any more destructive power going down to your expensive device, but that's what you do. And people take these things for granted. And so when they come to us here at Xity Engineering Solutions, we quote them. We don't just do some quote by telling us, like I always tell people, I have to come to the site and do an assessment. Like people think, oh no, it's just a small house with 2 bedrooms. Well, I need to know all of the equipments in there. I need to know potentially what are some of the equipments you are going to be adding to your appliances in the near future, right? Like your kitchen appliances or your office appliances. Like we want to build a system that you'll be truly happy with. And sometimes that doesn't come cheap. And people, most times, they want something cheap. But the thing about those kind of cheap things in the solar and power industry, anything with electricity, it's really, really important that you understand. The money you're saving by going cheap can cause you a lot of pain. Just recently, I saw the fire department released a report. The home of Prince C. Johnson, I think he used to be the chief of staff of the military here. His home was gutted by fire, and according to the fire department report, they said it was due to fire from his solar battery. So if you think about that a little bit, so batteries, solar batteries, especially the LiFePO4 battery, right, or lithium iron phosphate batteries, they are more tolerant to high temperature conditions. Now, I'm not sure what type of battery was in the home. I think it's a Major General or General Prince C. Johnson in his home, and he's a respectable man. But he doesn't necessarily know the difference between like the quality of services, and we know we have a lot of bad actors here. And I'm not saying that those people maybe necessarily, like I don't have all the facts to say that they install like some poor systems there, but I'm just saying like lithium iron phosphate batteries, they resist high temperatures. So why did fire like start at the battery? There can be a lot of reasons. Faulty wire connections. I've seen some of that here with my own eyes where I visited people's solar installations and told them right away that you need to change. This system design is terrible. And some of them even had their inverters got damaged because of the poor wiring. So it could be that, or it could just be like probably the battery that was installed is one of those cheap batteries that are not very good at very high temperature situation. And here is the thing here. That house got gutted by fire during the rainy season in Liberia. So I don't know if that installation was done and basically survived the dry season, and then it got like gutted by fire during the rainy season when temperatures are generally lower in Liberia. I don't know, but think about it. So I don't know the history of all of that, so I'm not going to speculate on like, it was because the temperature was excessively high. It's not supposed to be gutted by high temperature right now, or it could be due to just faulty wiring that caused fire in the battery. But again, please, people, I get it all the time. I create like some code for you and people are worried, oh, it's too costly and this and that. It's really because of the quality of the workmanship we're going to do, so that your system is installed upholding the safest standards in the world, period. 2, we are sourcing the best, like top of the line equipment for you that we know and we trust. Okay, it's not like every like technological system cannot have some error at some point here and there. So we're not guaranteeing you. We're not saying, oh, this is 100% guaranteed that there will be no fault. That's not what we are saying. We are saying like the chances of any of those systems like being faulty or being like or not performing as it should be, especially on the safety side, it's very small compared to you buy a very cheap and crappy material and basically it just catches fire and your entire investment, which your solar power is just a small part of, like basically is destroyed quickly, like just in a few hours, everything is gone. Like the residence of the Reverend General Prince C. Johnson. So think about it. So, and these fires, like they affect everyone in the society. I really feel bad when this thing happens to people, both the poor and the rich, the small and the big. Like small and big in terms of like your position in society. So. I just wanted to stop by again, just talk about this. It's sad that people still don't listen. They watch the videos that I make in terms of safety, and they still go and still settle for something that is going to potentially ruin their entire investment, their sweat and their hard work. So pay attention to these things, and this is why we install these kind of things, right? So how much did I lose by having these things in a line that will self-destruct? Like a few $100, like $100 or $200. And how much pain did it save me? Well, you can tell, hundreds of thousands of dollars. My inverter and my battery, I don't know which one, would have gone down, but the inverter was going to take the first hit, and I don't know what else would have happened, right? Because we're talking about high current. Melted a strong plastic, this thing is solid. People who know the industry, they know these inline fuse holders. This is really solid plastic material. It's not some cheap plastic, and it's melted and twisted. That's the cool thing about this thing. So you see it quickly, and you tell that, oh, something is wrong with it. So that's what happens. Sorry, so I'm gonna close this up. But for those of you who have been wondering, we've made a lot of videos lately. It's because we are doing some real great work in the solar side, doing a lot of R&D, trying to bring something new in the solar space in Liberia. So there's a lot of things we are working against. To improve the space and to also ensure that people are aware that Liberians are capable of amazing work in the solar industry. So that has taken a lot of our attention, and then coupled with the heavy rain, so we haven't been doing a lot of work yet in Xity because of the rain, and so we'll put that to the dry season. But we've been ordering our equipment, getting our tools ready for the dry season to start. And there are also some great news about Xity that we'll share later. So for people who want to start building homes in the dry season, Xity, just be assured that we are gearing up to start our work, and we would love for you to be part of it. So just keep following us. We are working hard every day, and we are doing things to improve Liberia and to build Liberia for all of us in a safe and reliable way. Thank you all. Bye-bye.